And General Upendra Dwivedi has assumed the role of the 30th Chief of the Army Staff from General Manoj Pandey, who retired on Sunday. An alumnus of Sainik School Rewa, General Dwivedi was commissioned into Jammu and Kashmir Rifles in 1984. With 40 years of military experience, he brings a wealth of knowledge and a proven track record in operational and staff roles across various theatres. His focus will be on enhancing operational preparedness, integrating modern technologies and promoting a culture of trust among soldiers and veterans. Earlier, General Manoj Pandey, who was the 29th Chief of the Army Staff, received a Guard of Honour in New Delhi as he relinquished the post of the Army Chief. General Manoj Pandey superannuated today after more than 4 decades of distinguished service and relinquished the appointment of the Chief of the Army Staff. Under the leadership of General Pandey, the Indian Army saw major transformations and boost towards modernization and self-reliance. All right, DD India's Akshay Dongre is joining us live. He'll talk more on this. Akshay, General Upendra Dwivedi assumes the role of 30th Chief of the Army Staff. Tell us the challenges lies ahead in front of him and also achievements of General Dwivedi.
Well, General Dwivedi boasts a well-decorated service as far as track record is concerned, taking over the commission in 1984. As far as his own regiment is concerned, he was in the J&K Rifles, that is JACRF, and has commanded several theatres, including the Eastern Theatre, the Northern Theatre, as well as the Western Theatre. Talking about the challenges that will be faced by General Upendra Dwivedi are somewhat similar to what General Manoj Pandey also faced, that include the modernization of the Indian Armed Forces. Now, given the scale of the Indian Army, there is a huge task to make it a slimmer, more leaner force and to face the modern challenges that are emerging due to the changing geopolitical landscape across the world. Now we are looking at the borders in the north, we are looking at the borders in the east and west and in south as well, where the Indian Army plays a key role as far as securing the borders of the country is concerned. General Upendra Dwivedi was into infantry. He has been a very senior officer and commanding several theatres, and that gives him a lot of advantages as far as the technological advances of the armed forces are concerned. He is bringing a lot of wealth, as you also mentioned, Abhishek, in terms of modernization of the forces. Self-reliance remains on the top of the agenda for the Indian Army. What we have seen in the past decade, as far as the changes that are in the armed forces are concerned, we are clearly noticing that the Indian Army is striving toward becoming a self-reliant force in the next few years, not just in terms of weapons and ammunition, but in terms of usage of modern infrastructure as well as weaponry as well. So here it will be a huge advantage for the Indian Army with General Upendra Dwivedi as the Chief of the Army Staff.
Actually, also talk about General Manoj Pandey. How do you see his tenure, major transformations that India saw?
Well, absolutely. In fact, the last 2 years of the leadership of General Manoj Pandey have been exemplary. In fact, these are the 2 years where the world has changed a lot. We have faced a lot of challenges, and they were met with his expertise in terms of facing not just the land borders, but also the modernization drive is concerned. Now, to change a structure like the Indian Army in terms of modernization plans, it is a huge task for any leader. But General Manoj Pandey, as soon as he came in, and being in fact the first officer from the engineering corps to take over the command as the Chief of the Army Staff, it was a huge opportunity for General Manoj Pandey, which he in fact fulfilled successfully in terms of the modernization of the armed forces are concerned. Indian Army in the just last 2 years has taken huge leaps in terms of the modernization, in terms of self-reliance, and in terms of bilateral, multilateral engagements as well, that are quite exemplary in fact. So this tenure will be remembered as the Indian Armed Forces have been issuing a statement in terms of his own superannuating is concerned, that took place today, and now with the baton being passed to General Upendra Dwivedi, it is going to be a huge opportunity for the Indian Army in terms of facing the future challenges and meeting the opportunities.
All right, Akshay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs.